Hi, today I'm going to talk about the importance of taking control of your finances as a freelancer. It's one of the most important things you can do to make sure that you succeed and that you keep going from strength to strength in your freelancing career. You really need to understand the money and the flow of money and cash flow and where you're making it, where you're spending it, because this will just ensure that you are profitable and at the end of the day you live a comfortable lifestyle. The first thing you need to think about is separating out your business and personal finances. This is so important. It will let you get a better handle on both of them and it will make your life easier. The second thing that you need to be able to do is give yourself a buffer. Now, why am I talking about that? Well, because as a freelancer, you will have good months and bad months. Some months you'll make more money than others, and you never know, some months you might not make any money at all. This is very, very common, even for really good freelancers. So you have to be prepared for this. Make sure you give yourself that buffer I was talking about. And I would recommend keeping 3 to 6 months of whatever salary you're paying yourself in your business bank account. This will reduce your stress and just mean that you can plan a little bit in the future. So, for example, if you pay yourself £2,000 a month, I would recommend keeping a minimum of £6,000 to £12,000 in your business bank account at any one time, including any national insurance contributions and tax liabilities you may have. So it's a little bit more than 6 to 12. And that leads me nicely into my third topic, which is don't spend all the money. Now, it's so tempting when you've got a big chunk of change come into your business bank account after a good month just to start spending. Do not do this. There's a couple of reasons. Point number 2 I just talked about, but what I want to cover most importantly in this one is HMRC and your tax liabilities. So that day rate is not all yours. Some of it belongs to HMRC and other organisations. And when it comes to tax time and you submit your return and you don't have the money available, that is going to cause you so much stress and so many headaches. You have no idea, and it's easier just to budget for it. The final point I want to make is about bookkeeping. So, if you get an accountant, I strongly recommend you do. They will make your life easier, they will save you money, and to repay the favour, you can do your own bookkeeping and keep on top of it. Bookkeeping is relatively easy, especially if you're only putting in a couple of invoices a month, your spending is probably pretty minimal, so you should be able to stay on top of it relatively easy. And I'll just talk to you about how to do that in a moment, but I think firstly we need to look at what is bookkeeping. So let's ask an expert. Google, what is bookkeeping?
This is the definition of bookkeeping: the activity or occupation of keeping records of the financial affairs of a business.
What is bookkeeping and why does it matter? Bookkeeping is the process of recording all the financial transactions conducted by a business. This includes purchases and sales and any other form of expenditure and income. This means that a business can see where money is being spent, where revenue is coming from, and help manage taxes. Traditionally, these records were kept in books called account books, hence the name. Bookkeeping matters for a number of reasons. 1. It helps you ensure you remain compliant with tax legislation. The better your books are kept, the more compliant your company is, but it also gives your accountant a better chance of minimising your tax liability, legitimately. It can help you secure loans. If you need any kind of financing, lenders will need to review your books, and well-kept books give them a clear idea of the business's current financial state, which in turn helps them make future projections about your ability to pay back the loan. It helps ensure any accounting mistakes are caught early. If you wait until the end of the year to reconcile your financial transactions, it can leave you with significantly more to do, and if there's been a mistake, it can be more challenging to resolve. And you can see how your money is moving. Keeping on top of your books can help you understand where you're spending money, where you're making it, help you control your costs, and generally just help you understand your business. So what are the steps you need to follow to ensure you have well-kept books?
So, what should you do to make sure you stay on top of your business finances? Well, I already talked about point number one. The most important thing that you should do is separate out your business and personal finances. So critical. So if you don't have a business bank account, I really recommend you go out and get one right now. Pause this video, book an appointment.
The easiest way to separate your own personal finances from your business finances is to set up a business bank account, as I've already mentioned. Legally, you have to do this if you're running a limited business. They're their own legal entity, and separating out your business and personal accounts ensures that the liability sits with the business and not with yourself. It makes things cleaner, it's easier to manage, and just reduces a whole load of hassle.
Okay, so the next thing you have to do is choose a bookkeeping system.
Okay, so there are two main bookkeeping systems, single entry and double entry. And although double entry is probably more widely used for businesses, there's no real right or wrong. It's just a matter of picking the method that works best for you and for your business. Double entry is more complex and it's quite robust. Each item is entered into the ledger twice as a debit and a credit. I'm not going to go into the details here, but single entry is a relatively simple system, and for a freelance consultant who's not making too many purchases and is only invoicing a few clients, it might be easiest, and it is possible to switch. The other thing that you're going to have to think about is bookkeeping software. You can do it yourself using Excel, but I think the best method is to use an online system, either Xero or QuickBooks. Both very good, come highly recommended. But speak to your accountant because they may have a deal with either QuickBooks or Xero, and you may get one of them as part of your accountancy package.
Once you've got a bookkeeping system chosen, you need to look at choosing an accountancy method and choose one that's best for you.
So for your accountancy method, you've got two options. You've got cash or accrual accounting. For most contractors, cash accounting actually makes the most sense. You only record the money when it's in your hands. So for example, when you cash a check or once the bank transfer is completed, that is when you enter the money into your ledger. Using the accrual method, you record the income when you submit the invoice. It is relatively easy to switch from cash to accrual accounting if your business gets to that size, but like I say, for most freelance consultants, cash system works best.
Once you've got your accountancy method and bookkeeping system in place, you then need to look at categorizing all your transactions to see how the money flows.
Every transaction you enter into your books needs to be categorized. This just makes your life simpler. It helps you be better prepared when it comes to your tax returns. It helps you see where your money's going, what you're spending it on, and it just helps you be a bit more organized. Generally, the way you categorize your transactions depends on your business, the size of your business, the industry, but generally speaking, transactions fall into 5 account types: assets, liabilities, equity, revenue, and expenses.
To make sure your accounts stay compliant, you need to ensure you keep copies of all relevant documents.
You need to keep receipts, all of them. If you have any transaction, you need to record it. So you need to keep copies of your invoices, you need to keep copies of your receipts. Make sure you've got them, and don't just stuff them in a shoebox. Try to be organized about it, and the best way to do that is digitally. So take photographs and store them that way, whether that be on Google Drive or Dropbox, or most accounting softwares have some function to store receipts as well, but you also get specific apps that'll do it for you. Record keeping is critical, especially if you ever get audited by HMRC.
Okay, so the final step, and this is the hardest one, make it a habit.
This last one is the most difficult one to get right, and I'll hold my hands up and say I've never been particularly good at it, and I really have to force myself. Doing bookkeeping isn't the most fun activity. I'd rather be sitting watching Netflix or something similar, but if you set aside a date and some time and just keep on top of it once a month, go through your bookkeeping and keep on top of it, it's so much easier. Otherwise you have some horrendously stressful days when it comes to your end of year tax returns, and I am talking from experience. Make it a habit.
Right, Before I finish, I'm going to make one last recommendation, and that is you go to lynda.com or Udemy or Coursera or even YouTube. Spend 2 or 3 hours, invest the time, and do a basic accountancy course. Accounting 101, accounting for beginners, or something similar, because taking the time to do this will pay dividends in the end. You'll have a much better understanding of your business. You'll understand what your accountant's talking about, and when you're speaking to HMRC, you'll come across as significantly more professional and competent, which will be a real benefit. The other thing is you should look on it as part of your ongoing skills development and your professional development, which I do keep talking about. So that's the way it is.